Season's greetings, bardflies. It is me, your humble artistic director, Lord Jeremy Eineichner. Yes, I'm a lord now. That's a thing that happened earlier today, so that's fun. And I would like to welcome you to our presentation of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, Raw. However, before I do anything else, we need to call the players to the screen. Yay, here they come. There's a lot of them this time. This is a very large cast show. Now, for those of you who haven't been keeping up with our shows, this is how we do them for the time being. Brian, you're not in the cast. You don't need to be here.
Okay, bye.
We'll see you at intermission, Brian.
I'll be there.
Yep. I had intended for that to be a surprise, like a Christmas miracle thing. Tells you.
Sorry.
That's what I get for trying to do a surprise. Oh, yeah, but anyway, as I was saying, for those of you who have yet to see one of our shows, this is how we're doing them now because we can't do them in person. I'm sorry. But normally the actors will come up and pull a name from the hat, but since they're all in their respective homes, I have a second hat that has all of their names in it. And I will draw one name from each hat, and that will tell them who they're going to be playing. So, let's take this away. First up, Jarod Freitag will be playing Marley, Mr. Tackleton, and Janet. Next up, Mr. David Kaye will be playing Belle, Mrs. Oliver, and Jeeves. Christee Reince will be playing... get out of there. Tiny Tim, Child Scrooge, and Mrs. Dilbert. She was just showing off that she already has a crutch on the ready just in case. Joshua Klingman will be playing the Narrator. Jim Donaldson will be playing Ebenezer Scrooge. Andrea Roedel-Schroeder will be playing Belinda, Broker 3, and Fan. Jason Myers will be playing the Caroler, the Boy, and the Ghost of Christmas Present. Bonnie Elliott will be playing Mr. Howell, Young Adult Scrooge, and the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. Ooh. Nicole Allee will be playing Mrs. Cratchit and Broker Number 1. Stephen Wolterstorff will be playing Peter, Broker Number 4, and the Spirit of Christmas Past. Sarah Wallisch will be playing Fred, Mr. Fezziwig, and Old Joe. Tom Colley will be playing Martha and Broker Number 2, which means that Joe Montana will be playing Mrs. Cratchit. And that is the cast, folks.
Now, I was Mrs. Cratchit.
Oh, Bob Cratchit. I apologize. Joe, you are Bob Cratchit. Yes, you're Cratchit and nothing else, so that's Bob Cratchit. I had to write things down so that they could fit on the piece of paper. And that is the cast, folks. I hope you're excited. I am. Now, as they get ready, again, for those of you who've never been to one of our shows, these actors just found out who they're going to be playing. They did not find out in advance. They did not look at the script in advance. I told them to. They chose not to. But, it's Christmas Carol, so they should know it. But one or two of them are probably just now realizing that this version does not contain any Muppets.
No Muppets?
Yes, no Muppets indeed. But yes, and normally this is where I would go into a long, drawn-out explanation about why that is. But, that normally I do that just to kill time. So for tonight, we're just doing it because it's fun that way. Hooray! However, the one thing that I will go into, that we always go into, is our drinking game. Tonight, I am drinking chilled mulled wine, which I'm pretty sure is just sangria. And we're going to go with the standard Christmas Carol drinking game of every time the word humbug is said, we drink. It happens kind of a lot. It's kind of the catchphrase. So enjoy! And so yeah, that's the drinking game. Also, we realize that these are some tough economic times right now. So if you, in the viewing audience, have any charities that you think are worthy, that could use some help right now, go ahead, drop them in the comments section, which I believe is over there, if I'm doing this right. I have no idea. Or it's over there. It's one of the two. But yeah, so feel free to drop those there, because, at this charitable time of year, we like to think of those who are less fortunate, because that's a quote from a book. Yeah, I'm clever. But yes, also, I just want to take this time to let y'all know that we are going to be taking a break after this show. We have been doing a lot, and we are starting to burn out. I'm not going to lie. We don't have a whole lot left in the tank. We will come back at some point this year, I'm certain. I have no doubt that we will be doing Scottish play in October in some way, shape, or form. We'll see how that goes. But for now, we're just going to, we're going to put the brakes on things for right now. Yeah. So yes, so that's that. Sorry, there's a chat going on that I'm trying to do this and pay attention to. But yes, so drinking game, have that covered. Comment section, got that covered. There will be an intermission song. As you saw, Brian is in the house tonight, even though he's not in the show. So we will have an intermission song, which does mean we will have an intermission. It'll be about halfway through. And I apologize because the scene that we go to intermission on is kind of a sad one. So apologies for that in advance. Other than that, are the players ready?
Yes.
Great. Good to hear.
Encouraging words.
Excellent. Therefore, so I now bring to you Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, Raw. Enter the narrator.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of...
Wrong
What?
book, bro.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Much better.
There you go.
Marley was dead. To begin with, there is no doubt whatsoever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge named was considered good to any piece of business he chose to put his hand to. Marley was dead as a doornail. Now, I don't know what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I would think a coffin nail would be deader piece of iron. But far be it from me to change the expression, or the country's done for. So permit me to repeat, once again emphatically, that Marley was dead as a doornail. Scrooge knew he was dead. Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he had been partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole friend, and the only man who mourned him, if Scrooge can be said to have mourned at all.
Enter Scrooge and Cratchit, assuming positions of work on either side of the room.
And the mention of Marley's funeral brings me back to the point I started from. There is no doubt that Marley was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I am about to relate. It was bitterly cold, and the fog was thick as pea soup on that Christmas Eve of 1843, when Scrooge sat busy in his country house with his clerk nearby, trying to warm himself at a candle. But since he didn't have much of imagination, he failed.
Exit the narrator. Enter Fred.
Merry Christmas, Uncle!
What?
I said, Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you.
Ah, humbug.
Christmas? A humbug, Uncle. Surely you don't mean that.
Course I mean it. Merry Christmas indeed. What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
Come, Uncle. What reason have you to be dismal? You're rich enough. Huh?
Bah! Away with Merry Christmas. What's Christmas to you but a time for paying bills without money, a time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Uncle!
Nephew, keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it. But you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone then. A lot of good it has done you.
Well, there are many things from which I have benefited, even if they don't show a profit, I dare say. Christmas among the rest. But if anything belonging to Christmas can be considered apart from the sacred source of its name and origin, I am sure I have always thought of Christmas as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time of year I know of when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely and think of others as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave. Therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of silver or gold in my pocket, I believe that it has done me good and will do me good, and I say, God bless it.
Cratchit bursts into applause at this, then stops at Scrooge's scowl.
You, another sound out of you, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your position.
Don't be angry, Uncle. Come and dine with us tomorrow.
I'll see myself in hell first.
But why, Uncle?
Why? Why? Let me ask you a question. Why did you get married recently?
Because I fell in love, of course.
Love? You fell in love. Good afternoon, nephew.
But you never came to see me before I married. Why give it as a reason for not coming now?
Good afternoon.
I want nothing from you. I ask nothing from you. Why Can't we be friends?
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry to find you so resolute. We've never had a quarrel, you and I, but I came all this way to give you greetings of the season, and I will keep my Christmas humor to the last. So, a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Fred hurries off.
Good afternoon.
Fred pokes back in.
Damn. Can't make my page go. And a Happy New Year!
Afternoon.
Pokes back in.
Oh, and a Merry Christmas to you, Bob Cratchit.
Oh, thank you, sir. Merry Christmas to you.
There's another fellow, my clerk, with 15 shilling a week. A wife and a family talking about a Merry Christmas. I'll retire to Bedlam.
Jeeves and Howell enter.
Scrooge and Marley's, I believe. Have I had the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Marley's dead. In fact, he died 7 years ago this very night.
I'm quite sorry to hear it. But I have no doubt that generosity is well represented by his surviving partner.
At this festive season of the year, Mr. Scrooge, it is more than usually desirable that we should make some slight provision for the poor and the needy who suffer greatly at this present time. Many thousands are in want of basic needs. Hundreds of thousands are in want of common comfort, sir.
Are there no prisons? Did they disappear?
Oh, no, sir. There are still plenty of prisons.
And the workhouses for the poor still in operation, I assume?
They are still. I wish I could say they were not.
The treadmill and the poor law are in full vigor then.
Yes, very busy, sir.
Oh, well, I was afraid from what you had said that something had stopped them in their useful course. I'm glad to hear it.
Given that they scarcely furnish Christian cheer to the multitude, a few of us are trying to raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and some means of warmth. But we chose this time because it is a time above all others, when want is keenly felt and abundance rejoices. What shall I put you down for, sir?
Nothing.
You wish to be anonymous, then?
I wish to be left alone. I don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I am taxed for the institutions I have mentioned, and they cost enough. Those who are badly off must go there.
But many can't go there, and many would rather die.
Well, if they'd rather die, perhaps they should go ahead and do it and decrease the surplus population. I have too much of my own business to interfere with other people's. Mine occupies me constantly, and I'll thank you to leave me to it. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Exit Jeeves and Howell. Enter a caroller.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. That other ones know God was...
With that noise?
But, it's my art.
Exit caroller.
So you'll want all day tomorrow, I suppose?
Oh, if it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient, and it's not fair. If I was to hold back half a crown for it, you'd think you were being abused, no doubt. And yet you think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work.
It's only once a year, sir.
Poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. But I suppose you must have it. Be here all the earlier the next morning.
Yes, sir. I shall. I certainly shall.
Exit Scrooge and Cratchit. Enter the narrator.
Oh, Scrooge. He was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone. He was a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. To be sure, he lived in chambers which had once belonged to his deceased partner. They were a gloomy suite of rooms. It was old and dreary, for nobody lived in it but Scrooge. The fog and frost so hung about the black old gateway of the house that it seemed as if the genius of the weather sat in mournful meditation on that threshold. Upon arriving at his chambers, Scrooge took off his cravat, put on his dressing gown, slippers, and his nightcap, and sat down before the fire to take his gruel. It was a very low fire indeed. Nothing on such a bitter night, he was obliged to sit close to it and brood over it before he could extract the least sensation of warmth from such a handful of fuel.
Exit the narrator. Enter Scrooge.
Scrooge. Scrooge.
Humbug. I won't believe it.
Enter Marley.
How's this? What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Okay, smartass, who were you?
Well, we were friends on Facebook, and in life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
I don't believe it.
What evidence would you have of my reality, beyond that of your senses?
I don't know.
Why, do you doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheat. You might be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a fragment of an underdone potato. There's more gravy than grave about you, whatever you are. Mercy, drip apparition, why do you trouble me?
Man of the worldly mind, do you believe in me or not?
I do, I must. But why have you come to me?
It is required of every man that his spirit should walk abroad among his fellow men and travel far and wide. And if that spirit does not go forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death, and witness what it cannot share, but might have shared, and turn to happiness. Oh, woe is me.
You are fettered. Tell me why.
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link, yard by yard, and wore it of my own free will. Is the pattern strange to you? Or would you know the weight and length of the strong coil you bear yourself? It was as long and heavy as this 7 Christmas Eves ago. You have labored on it since. It is a ponderous chain.
Jacob, old friend, please speak comfort to me.
I have none to give. I have little time. I cannot rest. I cannot linger anywhere. My spirit never woke beyond the narrow limits of our money-changing hole. Oh, not to know that any Christian spirit working kindly in its little sphere will find its mortal life too short for its vast means of usefulness, not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one's life's opportunity misused. Yet such was I. Oh, such was I.
But you were always a good man of business.
This. Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. Hear me. My time is nearly done.
I will, Jacob, but don't be hard on me.
I am here to warn you that you have yet a chance of escaping my fate, a chance I have procured for you, Ebenezer.
You always were a good friend.
You will be visited by 3 spirits.
Is that the chance you mentioned?
Yep.
Oh, well, then I think I would rather not.
Expect the first when the bell tolls 1.
Can't they all just come at once and have it over with, Jacob?
Jesus, man. Expect the second of the next night at the same hour. The third upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. Look to see me no more, and for your sake, take care that you remember what has passed between us.
Exit Marley.
Humbug.
Enter narrator.
Marley's spirit bothered him exceedingly. Every time he resolved within himself that it was all a dream, his mind flew back again, like a strong spirit released, to its first position, and presented the same problem to be worked all through.
Exit the narrator.
Was it a dream, then?
Bong.
1:15.
Bong.
1:30.
Bong.
1:45 it.
Bong.
The hour itself. And nothing else.
Enter the spirit of Christmas past.
Scrooge!
Are you the spirit whose coming I was told about?
I am.
Who and what are you?
That is a fair question. I am the spirit of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past.
What brings you here?
Well, your welfare, of course.
I can't think of anything more conducive to my welfare than a night of uninterrupted sleep.
Nice try. How about your reformation, then? Take heed. Rise and walk with me.
Exeunt. They re-enter in the outdoors.
Good heaven, I was bred in this place. I was a boy here.
Do you remember the way, Ebenezer?
Remember it? I could walk it blindfolded.
Strange that you've forgotten it for so many years.
That's David Masterson and Robert Estes. Hello?
These are merely shadows of the things that have been. They are not aware of us.
Enter Child Scrooge.
school is not quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, if you can say that he has any, is left there still.
Poor boy, a little uncalled for, but my mother died giving birth to my sister. My father grew morose and seemed to begrudge us both ever after. I wish, but it's too late now.
What is it?
It's nothing. There was a boy singing a Christmas carol at my door last night. Damn these things.
Careful there. Don't hurt yourself.
I should have given him something. That's all.
Enter Fan.
Dear brother. Little Fan, you've grown. I've come to bring you home, dear brother. Home, little Fan? Yes, home, for good and all. Father is much kinder than he used to be. He was in a pleasant mood just the other night, so that I was not afraid to ask him once more if you might come home. And he said yes, you could. And he sent me to bring you. Ebenezer, Father has arranged an apprenticeship for you. You're to be a man and begin your career. You'll never have to spend another moment in this dreadful school. But first, we'll be together all Christmas long and have the merriest time in the world.
They stand in tableau under the following.
Your sister was a frail creature and often ill, but she had a large heart.
Though she had.
Come, Ebenezer, pack your things. The carriage is just outside.
They exit.
Your sister died a young woman, probably because of that enlarged heart. But she did have a child, as I recall.
Yes. Son. My nephew.
The only family you have left.
Yes, that is true.
Come along, Ebenezer. It's time to see another Christmas.
Another one?
They exit and re-enter in Fezziwigs. Enter Fezziwig, young adult Scrooge at work. Enter Christmas Past and Scrooge.
Now, do you know this place?
Know it. This is where I was apprenticed. Look, it's old Fezziwig. Bless his heart. Fezziwig alive again.
Christmas. Hey, yo-ho there, Ebenezer. No more work tonight, my boy. It's Christmas Eve. Clear all this nonsense away. We gotta make room. Life is too short for all work and no play. Hey, I say, it's time to party. Cheer up, Ebenezer.
The scene is changed to a party. Enter Belle and others, music and dance. Belle dances with young Scrooge.
It is such a small thing to make these silly people feel so much gratitude and joy.
Small thing?
Is it not? After all, what did he do? This Fezziwig spent a few pounds of your mortal money on a party. Does he deserve such praise as this?
Oh, it isn't that, Spirit. Why, Mr. Fezziwig has the power to make our work pleasant or miserable. Just in the way he looks at us and the way he addresses us, 1,000 such little things add up, until the happiness he gives is great, has cost a fortune and...
Ah, what is it?
Nothing.
Something, I think.
Exit all but Christmas Past and Scrooge.
No, it's just that I would like to be able to say a word or two to my clerk just now, that's all.
Come, Ebenezer, my time grows short. Look.
Re-enter the narrator.
This was not addressed to Scrooge, or to anyone who could he could see, but it produced an immediate effect. For again, Scrooge saw himself. He was a little older now, a man in the prime of his life. His face had not the harsh and rigid lines of later years, but it had begun to wear the signs of care and of Eros. There was an eager, greedy, restless motion in the eye, which showed the passion that had taken root, and where the shadow of the growing tree would fall.
Enter young adult Scrooge and Belle.
I know it matters very little to you. Another idol has displaced me, and it can make you as happy as I would have tried to do. I have no reason to cry. Oh, there you are, sweetie.
Oh, were you saying something? Oh, what idol has displaced you?
The golden one.
Now, there's a double standard for you. All the world speaks so vehemently against poverty, yet it condemns the pursuit of wealth just as harshly.
You fear the world too much, Ebenezer. All your other hopes have merged into the one hope of eluding the disdain of others. I have seen your nobler virtues fall away, one by one, till nothing is left but one master passion, the pursuit of profit. It consumes you.
What's that? Even if I have grown wiser, more astute, I haven't changed my feelings towards you.
Ebenezer, our promise to one another is an old one. We made it when we were young and poor, and happy to remain so until we could improve our fortunes together by patience and hard work. But you have changed. You are not the same man. Tell me, Ebenezer, if all of this had not happened, would you seek me out and try to win me now? Poor, dowerless girl with nothing to bring to a marriage? Just as I thought. You may feel sad now, Ebenezer, but I've no doubt that you will dismiss the thought of me very soon, as if you were glad to awaken from a bad dream or maybe a very good one. May you be happy in the life you have chosen.
Spirit, show me no more. Give me home. Why do you enjoy torturing me?
I told you. These are shadows of the things that have been. That they are what they are. Do not blame me.
Please, I beg you, take me away from here. I can bear no more, no more.
And they exunt. And that is Act 1. Yeah, I told you, last scene's a bit of a downer. Sorry for that. But we're going to take a quick 10 minutes here, and then we're going to be back here with Brian. So he'll bring things up. Yay! Do what you got to do. Once again, if you have a charity that you would like to support, throw them in the comments. If you have some money that you'd be able to donate to one of those charities, look in the comments. We'll see you in 10.
This got a message from Lucy. That week did things to me that I did not expect.
What'd I miss? Hey there, friends. Welcome back. It's me, Lord Jeremy. Yes, I'm going to refer to myself as a lord from now on. Deal with it. But before we do anything else, I would like to welcome back to the stage, he was on earlier. I'd welcome to the stage Mr. Brian Bear, our gifted songsmith.
Hello.
Hi.
Good word to use in this case. Maybe channeling a certain English artist for this song.
I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Yes, indeed.
Now, for those of you who've not seen one of our shows or seen Brian in one of our shows, he is a very gifted actor and comedian, but he's also a great songsmith. In every show, he writes a song for us. And so this is no exception. And so I now turn things over to Mr. Brian Bear.
All right, I'm going to take the headphones off. All right, let's see how this goes then. I have to be English for this part. Easter never bothered me. Thanksgiving I'll take for me. I tolerate Halloween, but it's Christmas Day I believe. My employee Bob Cratchit asked a whole day off for it. Oh, what an ungrateful little shit. It's Christmas Day I know. Christmas Eve night, sitting by the candlelight, with something pretty to my sight, laying down my weary head. Marley sitting in my bed. Wait, hold up, isn't Marley dead? He is, bro, what the fuck? He says he's here to save my soul, 'cause right now it's as black as coal, and into hell I'm going to fall. But I say, Bahama, bread and cheese, Fritos now are on their way to make me love Christmas again. A tear before my eyes, such a scary surprise. I see three Christmas spirits rise, taking through time and space, all over the place. So shit, this blast ghost has no face. I'm all up in my head, I see the tiny tears dead, and so am I, as I'm filled with dread. But it's not too late, I can change my ways. Redemption, here I come. Sweep the wind of drapes away. Do that, boy, what day's today? Today's Saturday, it's Christmas Day. It's Christmas, I'm in love. It's time to throw a great big bash. Go and buy a goose wheel bash. The one as big as me, you bet your ass. It's Christmas, I'm in love. And from now on, I'll be the best. Christmas cheer, I'll manifest. Every one of us, God bless. It's Christmas, I'm in love. Yay!
All right. Brian Bear, everybody.
That was me.
All right, Brian. Do you have anything else coming through the pipe?
Not really right now. You can still go and watch or listen to Turn to Page Fun, the Choose Your Own Adventure, Another Game Book type podcast / YouTube channel. It's with Sexy Hackers Network. And I'd say check that out.
Okay.
I think that's all I got.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything they want to plug right away?
I do. It's me.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Two things to plug. One of them being kind of I hate to call it the sister podcast because we're not all girls, but the sibling podcast to
Turn to page
Choose
fun.
What the fuck is your podcast called? Sorry, I'm fine.
Find it on
Turn to
YouTube.
page fun on YouTube. The sibling podcast to that, Who Let Me Read This. And so that's one.
Mhm.
Find it on YouTube or your podcatcher of choice. We read books that we read as children that were not okay. And then second thing,
Mhm.
myself and also cast member Nick Fuhrer have a show every Saturday and Sunday called Carrie Bradshaw Was a Bad Friend, where we are watching our way through Sex and the City and talking about it. A lot of talk about relationships and about gender and lots of cool stuff. And that's every Saturday and Sunday. We do have a Facebook page called Carrie Bradshaw Is a Bad Friend.
I just got caught up with that, so I feel... Okay, anyone else? Any last things to plug? No? Okay. With that, when last we left our hero, he was in deep, deep despair over remembering relationships that went sour. Who hasn't been there? But let's see what happens in the rest of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, Raw. We return to Scrooge's bedroom. Enter Scrooge, asleep. Enter the narrator.
Please, sir, I want some more.
Wrong book.
I get confused. After this mighty struggle, if that can be called a struggle, Scrooge was conscious of being exhausted and overcome by an irresistible drowsiness, and further, of being in his own bedroom once again. He barely had time to reel to bed before he sank into a heavy sleep.
Exit the narrator.
Scrooge! Ebenezer Scrooge!
Scrooge awakens. Enter the spirit of Christmas present.
Come here and know me better. I am the spirit of Christmas presents. You have never seen the likes of me before, eh?
No, never.
Take hold of my robe, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Where, pray tell, are we going?
You will see.
Exeunt. They re-enter in the Cratchit home. Enter Scrooge in the spirit of Christmas present.
Is there a peculiar flavor that you sprinkle from your torch?
There is, indeed, my own.
You? Would it apply to any dinner on this day?
To any, kindly given, but to a poor one most.
Why to a poor one most?
Because it needs it most.
Enter Mrs. Cratchit, Peter, and Belinda.
What has ever got your precious father then, and your brother Tiny Tim, and Martha wasn't this late last Christmas by half an hour?
Enter Martha.
Here I am, Mother.
Oh, Martha, how late you are!
We had a great deal of work to finish at the milliner's last night, and a great deal to clear away this morning.
Oh, well, never mind, you are home. Now sit down and warm yourself, dear.
Father will be home any minute.
Hide, Martha, hide!
Martha hides. Bob Cratchit enters with Tiny Tim. The family greets him.
Hi, Pop.
Hello.
Oh, it's so cold out. Whoa, hold up. Where's Martha?
She won't be coming for Christmas this year, I'm afraid.
What? Not coming for Christmas?
Oh.
Here I am, Father.
Oh, I'm so relieved.
Come on, Tim. Come on.
I'm here, the pudding singing in the copper.
Exit Peter, Belinda, and Tiny Tim.
And did little Tim behave himself in church?
Oh, he did.
As good as gold and better. Somehow he gets thoughtful sitting by himself so much, and he thinks the strangest things you ever heard. He told me coming home, that adorable little shit, that he hoped the people saw him in church because he's a cripple, and it might be pleasant for them to remember on Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see. It was Jesus.
Oh, yes.
It was
Tim.
It was Jesus that did that, and Tiny Tim was like, wouldn't they love to see how crippled I am and remember that Jesus likes poor people and is not an asshole bastard.
Right.
But anyway, I digress. He's growing stronger every day. I just know it.
Oh, Martha, help me get the goose.
Exit Mrs.
Oh, there
Cratchit.
is such a goose, Father, such as we never had before.
Re-enter Mrs. Cratchit with the goose. Enter Peter, Belinda, and Tiny Tim.
Look at the goose.
It's a glorious goose, my love.
Right. It's great.
I propose a toast. A Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless us.
God bless us.
us.
God bless us, everyone.
Oh, that adorable little shit.
Oh, he's great.
I love you so much.
Love you too, Dad.
I had no idea that Cratchit had a crippled son.
I wonder why.
Tell me, Spirit, will the boy live?
I see a vacant seat at this table, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
Oh, no, that cannot be. Say he will be spared.
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, none other of my race will find him here. What difference does that make? If he is likely to die, then let them die, and decrease the surplus population.
Use my own words against me.
Yes. So that in the future, perhaps, you will hold your tongue until you have discovered what the surplus population is, and where it is. Who are you to decide who shall live and who shall die? It may be that in the sight of heaven, you are more worthless and less fit to live than millions like this poor man's child.
Now, dear ones, a toast. Where's your glasses? Tim, raise your donkey. I give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of our feast.
Ha! The founder of our feast, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon and hope he'd have a good appetite for it.
My dear, the children, Christmas Day.
Why, it should be Christmas Day when one would drink the health of such an odious, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Ebenezer Scrooge. No one knows better than you, Bob.
My dear, have a little charity. We poor people need to be mindful of how sad a condition the rich are in.
Oh, all right then. I'll drink to his health for your sake and for the day's sake, but not for his. Long life to him, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I've no doubt he'll be very merry indeed and very happy.
To Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge!
Exeunt. They re-enter in the Hollowell home. Enter Fred and Janet, and others. Enter Scrooge and the spirit of Christmas present.
He said that Christmas was a humbug. He believed it too.
The more shame for him, Fred.
He's really a comical old fellow, and not so pleasant as he might be. However, his offenses carry their own punishment, and I have nothing to say against him.
I'm sure he's very rich, Fred. At least you always tell me so.
But his wealth is of no use to him. He doesn't do any good with it. He doesn't make himself comfortable with it. And I sincerely doubt he would ever consider benefiting us, Janet.
Well, I have no pity for him.
But I have. Who suffers by his ill whims? Himself. Always. Here, he takes it into his head to dislike us, and he won't come and dine with us. What's the consequence? He loses some pleasant moments, which could do him no harm. I mean to give him the same chance every year, whether he likes it or not. I think I may have cracked the old boy yesterday, if I do say so myself. He has given us plenty of merriment, I am sure, and it would be ungrateful not to drink to his health. Here's to Uncle Scrooge.
Uncle Scrooge.
Uncle Scrooge.
All exit but Scrooge and the spirit of Christmas present.
Normally take offense at such tasteless banter and laughter at my expense. However, in view of the general gaiety of the occasion, I am inclined to overlook it.
That's quite noble of you.
Enter the narrator.
Getting it.
Scrooge and the spirit of Christmas present walk through the crowd.
Much they saw, and far they went, and many homes they visited, but always with a happy end. The spirit stood beside sick beds, and they were cheerful on foreign lands, and they were close at home by struggling men, and they were patient in their greater hope. By poverty, and it was rich. In almshouse, hospital, and jail, in misery's every refuge, where vain man and his little brief authority had not made fast the door and barred the spirit out, he left his blessing and taught Scrooge his precepts. Suddenly, as they stood together in an open place, the bell struck 12.
Exit the spirit of Christmas present.
Bye.
Bong, bong,
Scrooge looked about him for the ghost and saw it no more. As the last stroke ceased to vibrate, he remembered the prediction of old Jacob Marley.
Enter the spirit of Christmas yet to come. There.
And lifting up his eyes, beheld a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming like a mist along the ground towards him.
Exit the narrator.
I take it that I am in the presence of the spirit of Christmas yet to come. You are about to show me shadows of the things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Is it not so, Spirit? Spirit, I fear you more than any spectre I have seen. Will you not speak to me? Very well. Lead on, Spirit.
Enter the brokers.
I know these men, and this place. It is the stock exchange. It is a second home to me.
I know. I don't know anything about it. Either way, I only know he's dead.
Oh, when did he die?
Last night, I believe.
Why? What was the matter with him? I thought he'd never die.
God knows.
What has he done with his money?
I haven't heard. Left it with his company, perhaps.
I only know he hasn't left it to me.
Well, it's likely to be a cheap funeral. I don't know anybody who would go to it.
I don't mind going if a lunch is provided, but I must be fed for all the trouble it's worth.
What an old ass he was.
He sucks.
Spirit, what is this? Why am I seeing this?
Enter Old Joe, Mrs. Oliver, Mrs. Dilbert, and Mr. Tackleton.
I was here first, Mrs. Dilbert. Should be after me, and then the Undertaker's man could be third. Isn't that something, Joe? All of us left here without meaning it.
You couldn't have met me in a better place. Hey, come in and sit. Don't be shy. We're all suitable to our calling. We're well matched, to be sure. Come on, come in.
Mr. Tackleton produces his plunder.
Ah, Mr. Tackleton has been a busy man. Let's see. A seal, a pencil case, a pair of sleeve buttons. I'll give you £1.08. And not another 6p if I was to be boiled for not doing it. Who's next?
Mrs. Dilbert presents her bundle.
Quite a stash, Mrs. Dilbert. Of course, I always give too much to the ladies. The weakness of mine, and that's the way I ruin myself. All right. £3 even. Mrs. Dilbert, if you ask me for another penny and make it an open question, I'd repent of being so liberal and knock off half a crown. Here.
And now undo my bundle, Joe. I was here first.
And what do you call this?
Bed curtains.
You don't mean to say you took him down, rings and all, with him lying there?
And why not? He wasn't going to use them. Not going to catch cold without him, I dare say.
I hope he didn't die of anything catchy, eh?
Don't you be afraid of that. I wasn't so fond of his company that I'd loiter about if he did.
Hey, you may blush till your eyes ache, but you won't find a hole in it, not a threadbare place. It's the best he had, and a fine one, too. They'd have wasted it if it hadn't been for me.
What do you call wasting it?
I put him to be buried in it. To be sure, every person has a right to take care of themselves. He always did.
That's true indeed. No man more so.
That's the truest word ever was spoke, Miss Oliver. It's judgment on him.
All right. £4, 6 shillings and 2p. Not a penny more if I was to be boiled for it.
Exit all but Scrooge and yet to come.
Spirit, this is a fearful place. Surely there can be no reason to bring me to this godforsaken part of the city, except that the case of this unhappy man might be my own. Yes, the items they have stolen are similar to mine. I see the point. But surely there is someone who feels some emotion caused by this man's death. I demand to be shown some tenderness in connection to a death.
Yet to come points. Enter Mrs. Cratchit, Martha, Peter, and Belinda.
And he took a child and set him in the midst of them. And he said to them, whenever you welcome a little child, you welcome me.
Oh, this color hurts my eyes. There, there now. The candlelight makes them weak, and I wouldn't show weak eyes to your father. Oh, when it comes home, not for the world. It must be near his time.
Past it, rather. But I think he's walked a little slower than he used to these last few evenings, Mother.
Yes, I've known him to walk with. I have known him to walk with Tiny Tim upon his shoulder very fast indeed. Just scurries along.
So have I.
So have I. But he was very light to carry, and his father loved him so that it was no trouble. No trouble at all, huh? Well, is that your father now?
Enter Bob Cratchit.
Oh.
I went by there today. That's why I'm late. I wish you could have been there. It would have done you good to see how green it is. But you'll see it often. I promised him that I would walk there every Sunday to visit him. You see. Oh, but guess who I saw today? Fred Howell, Mr. Scrooge's nephew. I met him on the street. He saw that I was a little down, and he said to me, this is my indication of Fred right here. Fred Howell said to me, I'm heartily sorry, Mr. Cratchit, heartily sorry. And he pledged to be of any service he could to us. He even gave me his card and said I should call on him at home. But it's not for the sake of anything he might be able to do for us, as much as for his kind way that I'm thankful. It really seems as if he had known our Tiny Tim and felt with us.
Oh.
And I've got good news for you, Peter.
What is it, Father?
Mr. Hollowell told me that he has been able to secure an apprenticeship for you. You'll begin at 8 shillings a week.
Oh, 8 shillings a week.
Oh, so soon you'll be coupling with a young lady, Peter, and setting up house for yourself.
Whoa, that'll happen soon enough. But however and whenever we're parted from each other, I'm sure none of us will ever forget poor Tiny Tim, shall we?
No,
Never, Father.
Never, Father.
and I know as well, my dears, that when we remember how patient and mild he was, although he was a little child, we shall not quarrel among ourselves and forget our little Tim in doing it.
No, Mother, never.
Exit all but yet to come in Scrooge.
Yet, something tells me that the moment of our parting is at hand. I know it, but I don't know how. Tell me, the man who was spoken of, the one who died.
God bless them.
Tell me who he was.
Yet to come points to a gravestone.
Before I draw nearer to that stone to which you point, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of things that will be, or are they things that may be only?
Yet to come points to the gravestone.
The course of a man's life, if preserved in, will determine certain ends. I accept it. But if he departs from those courses, the ends must change. Say that it is so with me. Say this, me.
Narrator.
You're muted.
Thank you, Scrooge.
No problem.
Scrooge crept towards it, trembling as he went, and following the finger, read upon the stone and neglected grave his own name, Ebenezer Scrooge.
No, it can't be. Am I that man? Am I the man who died, who no one mourned? Say it isn't so, Spirit. Say it isn't so.
Christmas yet to come points to Scrooge and back to the stone.
Spirit, hear me. I am not the man I was. I will not be the man I must have been but for your intervention. Why show me this if I am past all hope?
Yet to come's hand begins to shake.
Surely your nature intercedes for me and pities me. Assure me that I may yet change these shadows you have shown me by a changed life.
Yet to come continues to tremble.
I will honor Christmas in my heart, and I will try to keep it all year. I will remember the lessons of the past. I will live in the present. I will live toward the future. The spirits of all three will strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons they teach. Oh, tell me that I may be sponge away the writing on this stone.
Holding up his hands in one last prayer to have his fate reversed, he saw an alteration in the Phantom's hood and dress.
Exit yet to come.
It shrunk, collapsed, and dwindled down into a bedpost.
What? Where am I? What day is this? Did I put mushrooms in my gruel? It's morning, but what day? How long have I been with the spirits? Was I with the spirits? Where am I? I don't know, but I'm alive. I'm alive. I don't know what to do. I feel as light as a feather. I'm as happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy.
Scrooge runs to the window. Enter the boy.
Hello, you boy. What day is this?
What day is it? Why, it's Christmas Day.
Christmas Day? The spirits have done it all in one night. Why, of course, they can do anything they like. Of course they can. Hello, my fine fellow. Do you know the Poulters at the corner?
I should hope I did.
Oh, what a wonderful boy, a remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that's hanging up there?
What? The one as big as me?
What a delightful boy, a pleasure to... what a delightful boy, a pleasure talking with him. Yes, my buck, the one as big as you.
It's hanging there now.
Well, it is. Why, then you must go and buy it. Yes, go and buy it now. Go and buy it and tell them to bring it round so that I can give them directions where to deliver it. Come back with the man and I'll give you a shilling. Come back in 5 minutes and I'll give you half a crown.
The boy runs off.
I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's. You won't know who sent it. I won't tell you. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim. Oh, Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim will live on my soul. Tiny Tim will live. They did it all in one night. The spirits of Christmas past, present, and future shall strive within me. Oh, heaven and Christmas time be praised for this. I feel like there really should be somebody else I should be praising, but that doesn't matter. I say it on my knees, dear Lord, on my knees. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world.
Exit Scrooge.
Scrooge dressed himself all in his best and at last got out into the streets. The people by this time were pouring forth. As he had seen them with the ghost of Christmas present and walking with his hands behind him, Scrooge regarded everyone with a delighted smile. He looked so irresistibly pleasant, in a word, that 3 or 4 good-humored fellows said, "Good morning, sir. A Merry Christmas to you." And Scrooge said often afterwards that Of all the blithe sounds he had ever heard, these were the blithest in his ears.
Enter Scrooge. Enter Jeeves and Howell.
Ah, my dear sir, how do you do? I hope you did well yesterday. It's a very good thing to do. Very good thing.
Mr. Scrooge?
Yes, that is my name. I fear it isn't pleasant to you. Allow me to ask your forgiveness, and yours too, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you will have the goodness to...
Scrooge whispers in Howell's ear.
Lord bless me. My dear Mr. Scrooge, are you quite serious?
If you please, not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in it, I assure you. Will you do me that favor?
My dear sir, I don't know what to say. Such generosity.
Say anything, please. Come and see me sometime. You will come and see me, both of you.
We will.
Yeah, we will. We will.
Thank you. Much obliged to you. I thank you 50 times. Bless you both. A Merry Christmas.
Exit Jeeves and Howell. Scrooge walks through the crowd.
Would you believe it if I told you that Scrooge went to church that day? He did! And walked about the streets and watched the people hurrying to and fro, and patted children on the head as they passed, and questioned beggars, and looked down into the kitchens of houses and up to the windows, and found that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamed that any walk, that anything at all, could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his step towards his nephew's house.
Scrooge approaches Fred's door and knocks. Fred and Janet answer.
Oh, honey. Oh!
Yes.
Uncle Scrooge.
The very same. I recall an invitation you made to me yesterday to come and dine with you.
Why, I don't know what to say.
Well, you could say bah humbug. A retort I heartily repent and shall never use again. Or you could say, come in.
Come in. Why, of course you shall come in. Hurrah! Uncle Scrooge, you have made us both very happy. Oh, may I introduce my wife, Janet? Janet, my Uncle Scrooge.
My dear, it is plain to me now why my nephew chose you among women. You are indeed every bit as lovely as I have heard.
Why, thank you, Uncle Scrooge. We're very happy you're here.
I'm sorry for the things I said about Christmas. And sorry for the poor reception I gave you yesterday, of which you were so undeserving. I loved her, you know. And she, you.
My mother? Yes. I know it, Scrooge. She loved you very much and wished until her dying day that we should always be close.
So we are, Fred. And so we shall be. So we shall be.
Exeunt. The counting house. Enter the narrator.
but he was early at the office the next morning. Oh, he was early there. If he could only be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late, that was the thing he had set his heart upon. And he did it. The clock struck 9. No Bob. A quarter past. No Bob. Bob was full 18 minutes and a half behind his time. Scrooge sat with the door wide open, that he might see him come into the tank.
Enter Bob Cratchit.
What is this?
Morning, sir.
Mr. Cratchit, you are late, sir.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by coming here at this time of day?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm behind my time.
Step this way, if you please, Cratchit.
It's only once a year, sir. It should not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday with my family. Little Martha got her way home from the hat maker's shop, and we had so much bourbon and whiskey to celebrate. And I'm so sorry I'm late, sir. If I could just have a glass of water, I would make it all up to you. I swear.
Now, I'll tell you what, my friend. I am not going to stand for this any longer. And therefore, I'm going to double your salary. Yes, Bob Cratchit. I'm going to double your salary. Sir, a Merry Christmas to you. A Merrier Christmas than I have given you in many a year.
Enter everyone!
The fuck?
It's a change of heart.
Okay.
Okay. That's a lot of everyone's. Even Brian. Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became a good friend, as a good master, and as a good man, and as the good old city knew. And ever afterward, it was always said of Ebenezer Scrooge that he knew how to keep Christmas and keep it all well. If any man alive possessed the knowledge, may that be truly said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed,
God bless us, everyone! Yay!
Enjoy.
And that's the cast. And that's the show, everyone. Give it up one more time for your cast. Tonight, as Belinda, Broker 3, and Fan was Andrea Roedel-Schroeder. As Martha and Broker 2 was Tom Colley. As Mrs. Cratchit and Broker 1 was Nicole Allee. As Fred, Fezziwig, and Old Joe was Sarah Wallisch. As Tiny Tim, Child Scrooge, and Mrs. Dilbert, and the birthday girl, Christee Reince. As Peter, Broker 4, and the Spirit of Christmas Past, Stephen Wolterstorff. As the Caroler, the Boy, and the Spirit of Christmas Present, Jason Myers. As Young Adult Scrooge, Howell, and yet to come was Bonnie Elliott. As I got it wrong. As Bob Cratchit was Joanna Montana. As the narrator. Hold on. As the narrator, Joshua Klingman. I didn't want to cough into the mic. Oh, as yes, Belle, Mrs. Jeeves, and Miss Oliver, David Kaye. Sorry, I don't have them in the right order on my sheet. And as Ebenezer Scrooge, Jim Donaldson. Oh, and Jarod Freitag. I missed Jarod Freitag, who was Marley. This is what happens when I don't prepare.
Marley and my hot wife.
Yes, and Janet. Damn it, Janet. And our intermission music was Brian Bear. Also, the person who handled all the casting for tonight's show was once again Christee Reince. So give it up for her. I suck at pointing. Once again, this is going to be our last show for a while, so I want you guys all to take care of each other. Do what you gotta do to stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you guys on the other side. I want to thank all these guys for doing the thing they do. I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone out there who is doing what they do to try and make this world suck a little bit less. And I want to thank each and every one of you without watching, because without you, we are just a bunch of drunks with a weird hobby, which is even harder to do when we don't sync up.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah. See you guys around.
I like it. Bye.
Cheers.
The last we said.
I've got it. Here, have one.
Stay well, everybody. We'll see you
Yep.
soon.
Be well.
Potato Christee.